You probably grew up hearing that fruit is always good for you, right? From an early age, we learn that the more colorful our plate, the healthier it will be. And of course, there is a lot of truth in that. But there is a reality that few people dare to talk about. After the age of 60, not all fruits work in our favor. Some can be real saboteurs of the body, accelerating inflammation, raising blood sugar, and even contributing to pain that refuses to go away. Imagine the scene: you start your day with a nice fruit juice, believing that you are nourishing your body with vitamins and energy. But inside your body, the exact opposite is happening: glucose spikes that sap your energy, enzymes that irritate your stomach, and processes that silently accelerate aging. Scary, isn't it? The big issue is that after 60, the body no longer reacts as it did before. Nutrient absorption slows down, glucose sensitivity increases, and the body's defense systems need allies, not disguised enemies. And this is where the danger lies. Many fruits considered harmless may be feeding the very problems you want to avoid, such as high blood pressure, joint inflammation, abdominal weight gain, and even memory lapses. But this is not about demonizing fruit. The point is to learn to identify which ones may be harming your health at this stage of life and, above all, which ones are capable of strengthening your body, protecting your brain, and restoring vitality to your daily life. Because the good news is this: while some fruits get in the way, others work as true natural remedies. They reduce inflammation, balance glucose, preserve bones, and even help keep your mind sharp. You may be thinking, but is the fruit I eat every day harming me? That question is exactly what we are going to answer now. Throughout this video, I'll reveal 7 fruits that may be damaging your health after 60, and also introduce 7 powerful fruits that do the opposite. They renew, protect, and give you strength from the inside out. So, before we continue, I want to propose something. If you believe that more people need to know this information and protect themselves from the hidden dangers on their plate, leave your like now. This simple gesture helps spread real knowledge and ensures that you receive more content that can transform your health. Get ready, because some revelations will surprise you deeply. When we think of fruits, we automatically associate them with the word natural. And in fact, they come from the earth, carry vitamins, fiber, and colors that delight the eyes. But what few consider is that natural is not synonymous with harmless. Think of a snake. It's natural, but that doesn't mean you want to find it in your kitchen. With fruit, the logic is similar. The truth is that our bodies, especially after age 60, become much more sensitive to imbalances. This is because the metabolism is no longer as efficient at converting sugars into energy. What was once easily burned off in daily activities now tends to accumulate, either in the form of abdominal fat or blood glucose spikes. And some fruits, although healthy in certain contexts, can become dangerous triggers at this stage of life. Here comes an important concept: the glycemic index. This complicated term simply refers to the speed at which a food raises blood sugar. The faster it rises, the greater the stress on the body. Repeated glucose spikes weaken blood vessels, inflame tissues, and accelerate processes linked to aging. And guess what? Some fruits that seem innocent are at the top of this list. Another point is fructose, the natural sugar in fruit. In small amounts, it is welcome. But in excess, it can overload the liver, increase triglycerides, and even contribute to the accumulation of fat in internal organs. This is especially relevant for those who already have high cholesterol, diabetes, or high blood pressure, conditions that are very common after age 60. And it's not just a metabolic issue. Some fruits can also irritate the digestive system, cause bloating, heartburn, reflux, or even reduce the absorption of important minerals such as calcium and magnesium. It may seem like an exaggeration, but studies have shown that indiscriminate consumption of certain fruits is directly linked to discomforts that many people attribute solely to age. Of course, this does not mean that we should cut all fruits from our diet. The secret is knowledge and balance. Knowing which fruits to eat, in what quantity, and at what time of day can be the difference between aging with energy and vitality or living constantly tired, inflamed, and in pain. The good news is that this knowledge is within your reach. Understanding what to avoid and what to include will give your body the chance to regenerate and function more harmoniously. And to begin this journey of conscious choices, we need to reveal the first of 7 fruits that, despite their sweet and innocent appearance, may be silently weakening your body. And maybe it's even in your fruit bowl right now. Among all the fruits that are considered super healthy, there is one that often appears at breakfast, in quick snacks, and even as a dessert after lunch: the grape. Fresh, sweet, easy to eat, and full of color. Who would have thought that something so small could cause problems? The issue is not the grape itself, but the way we tend to consume it after the age of 60. When you eat a few fresh grapes with a balanced meal, the impact is minimal. But when you turn them into concentrated juice or raisins, the story changes completely. Whole grape juice, for example, despite appearing natural, is a fructose bomb. A single glass can contain as much sugar as a can of soda. And the body makes no distinction. Natural sugar also causes blood sugar spikes, accelerates inflammatory processes, and, over time, increases the risk of diabetes and cardiovascular disease. Raisins, in turn, are even more treacherous. The dehydration process removes water and concentrates sugar. The result? Small pieces of quick energy that raise glucose in seconds. For a young and active body, this can be easily compensated for. But after age 60, these spikes leave invisible scars, stiffness in the blood vessels, constant fatigue, and even loss of mental clarity. And it doesn't stop there. The excess fructose present in grapes and grape products can overload the liver. This vital organ, responsible for more than 500 functions in the body, begins to accumulate fat and loses efficiency. This paves the way for what doctors call hepatic steatosis, the famous fatty liver, which is often only discovered during routine exams. Now, imagine this situation repeating itself daily, with that grape juice at breakfast or a handful of raisins in your afternoon snack. Without realizing it, you may be feeding a cycle that steals energy instead of providing it. And you may ask yourself, but I've always heard that grapes are good for the heart because of resveratrol. Yes, resveratrol exists, but it is found in higher concentrations in the skin of fresh grapes and in amounts that do not offset the impact of excess sugar. The problem is not the fruit itself, but how and how much of it we consume. The message here is simple: fresh grapes, in small portions and as part of a balanced diet, can be beneficial. But concentrated juice and daily raisins, especially after age 60, are traps disguised as health foods. And that's just the first revelation.
If grapes have already surprised you, get ready. The next fruit is even more popular, found in virtually every home, and may be affecting your sleep, your weight, and even your memory. Few fruits are as widely regarded as practical, nutritious, and indispensable as the banana. Easy to peel, available at any market, and always ready to satisfy your hunger. They appear in quick snacks, smoothies, fruit salads, and especially as part of breakfast. But are they really so innocent after the age of 60? Bananas, especially when very ripe, contain large amounts of simple sugars. This means that when eaten, they quickly raise blood glucose levels. For an aging body, which already has greater insulin resistance, this spike can be devastating. It's like turning a light on and off in seconds. The body receives immediate energy, but soon after feels a blackout, resulting in fatigue, early hunger, and even irritability. Another important point: this excess glucose, repeated day after day, can accelerate muscle loss and promote the accumulation of abdominal fat. And we know that this localized fat is not just aesthetic. It increases systemic inflammation and raises the risk of cardiovascular disease, which is already a central concern after age 60. Bananas can also influence sleep and memory. The reason? High blood sugar spikes affect the production of neurotransmitters linked to mood and cognitive balance. Who has never felt that drowsiness right after eating something very sweet? Well, in excess, ripe bananas can contribute to poor sleep and lapses in attention during the day. Does this mean that bananas should be eliminated altogether? Not exactly. The secret lies in how and when to consume them. A green or slightly yellow banana contains more resistant starch, which behaves like fiber and releases energy slowly. Overripe bananas, on the other hand, should be consumed in moderation and always combined with sources of protein or good fat, such as plain yogurt or some nuts. This simple strategy reduces the glycemic impact and helps balance the body. The point is that when eaten alone and in excess, especially in the morning, bananas can give the false impression of energy, but in practice they are sabotaging your metabolism. And if that's already a warning sign, the next fruit goes even further. Refreshing, common on hot days, but capable of disrupting your circulation and overloading your heart when consumed in excess. On hot days, few things seem as refreshing as a cold slice of watermelon. Sweet, light, with lots of water, it is practically the symbol of summer. But after the age of 60, is this fruit still as innocent as it seems? Watermelon has a characteristic that catches the attention of experts. Its glycemic index is very high. This means that, although it contains a lot of water, the sweet part releases glucose into the blood very quickly. The result is the same sugar spikes we saw in the previous fruits, but with one aggravating factor. The false sensation of lightness causes many people to eat huge portions at once. What happens in practice is that the body receives a shock of glucose. For an aging organism, which already has lower efficiency in the use of insulin, this effect is even more harmful. In the long term, it can accelerate circulation problems, increase blood pressure, and wear down endothelial cells, which are the inner layer of blood vessels. Another curious detail: because it is largely composed of water, watermelon gives the illusion of hydration. However, the combination of sugar and excess fluid can overload the kidneys, especially in those who already have some kidney weakness. Instead of helping, this excess can promote swelling in the legs, fluid retention, and even imbalances in blood pressure. And that's not all. Excessive consumption of watermelon can also cause digestive discomfort, such as gas and bloating. That's why many people report feeling stuffy after eating a large amount. This effect may seem trivial, but for those who already have slow digestion after the age of 60, it becomes a constant nuisance. Does this mean that watermelon should be completely cut from menu? Not necessarily. A small slice, consumed in moderation and accompanied by other foods rich in fiber or protein, is unlikely to cause major problems. But turning it into a refreshing feast may be sabotaging your metabolism without you realizing it. The most important thing is to understand that watermelon, despite appearing light, is not neutral. Excessive consumption can be directly linked to fatigue, bloating, and even cardiovascular health. And if even watermelon, so beloved in the summer, deserves attention, get ready, the next fruit may be even more challenging. Popular for breakfast, in juices, and even used as a home remedy, it can irritate your stomach, wear down your teeth, and cause pain that you never imagined could be linked to food. Few fruits convey such a feeling of freshness as citrus fruits. Oranges, lemons, tangerines, they all have a reputation for strengthening immunity, cleansing the body, and even preventing colds and flu. And yes, they really are rich sources of vitamin C and antioxidants. But when it comes to health after age 60, too much of these fruits can have very different effects than you might imagine. The first point is natural acidity. As we age, our digestive system becomes more delicate. The stomach no longer produces hydrochloric acid at the same intensity, and the mucous membrane becomes more sensitive. When consuming large amounts of citrus fruits, excess citric acid can irritate the gastric mucosa, causing heartburn, burning, and even reflux. Anyone who already suffers from gastritis or esophagitis knows how this discomfort can disrupt the day. Another detail is the impact on the teeth. The acid present in these fruits can wear down tooth enamel, leaving teeth more sensitive and vulnerable to cavities. And this effect is intensified when the fruit is consumed in the form of juice, especially on an empty stomach. Direct acidity, without the protection of chewing and saliva, increases the risk of silent tooth erosion. And there is another lesser-known consequence. Excessive citrus consumption can interfere with the absorption of essential minerals, such as calcium. This is especially concerning for those who already have osteopenia or osteoporosis, conditions that are very common after the age of 60. Instead of strengthening bones, excessive consumption can hinder calcium absorption, increasing the risk of fractures and joint pain. Of course, we are not talking about completely eliminating these fruits from the diet. They remain valuable sources of nutrients. The point is the amount. Eating a whole orange with pulp and fiber is very different from drinking 3 glasses of concentrated juice on an empty stomach. Balance is what determines whether the effect will be beneficial or harmful. It is also worth remembering that, for some people, consuming fruits such as pineapple, acerola, and lemon can cause immediate discomfort, such as abdominal bloating or mild diarrhea. These are small signs that are often ignored, but they reveal that the body is not coping well with this excess. So be careful. Even what seems freshest and healthiest can hide pitfalls when consumed without moderation. And if you thought acidity was the worst problem, get ready.
The next fruit on the list can go even further. When consumed in excess, it not only irritates the stomach, but can also steal calcium from the bones and accelerate the body's natural fragility over the years. So far, we've seen how some popular fruits can silently sabotage your health after 60. But the list doesn't stop there. There are 3 others, very common in everyday life, that have benefits in small doses but become real bombs when consumed in excess. The first of these is pineapple. It is known to aid digestion because of bromelain, a natural enzyme. However, pineapple is also highly acidic and, when eaten in large quantities, can irritate the stomach lining, cause heartburn, and even increase episodes of reflux. In addition, in people with more sensitive teeth, frequent consumption wears down the enamel, causing pain when chewing cold or hot foods. The second is ripe mango. Smooth, sweet, irresistible, but loaded with fructose and high on the glycemic index. For those who already have altered blood sugar, mango can cause blood sugar spikes comparable to traditional desserts. The result is a cycle of quick energy followed by fatigue, in addition to the risk of accelerating complications related to diabetes and insulin resistance. Often, those who consume mangoes believe they are choosing a healthy option, but in practice, they are overloading their metabolism. The third is dried figs. Here we have the same problem as raisins. Dehydration concentrates the fruit's natural sugar. A small portion is equivalent to consuming several dessert spoons of refined sugar. After the age of 60, this impact is even more serious, as it promotes the accumulation of fat in the liver and an increase in triglycerides in the blood. Frequent consumption of dried figs can turn a seemingly harmless snack into a real risk to the heart. Notice how all these fruits have a common pitfall: excess natural sugar or acidity. And although they provide interesting nutrients, they end up delivering a heavy load to the body, which is already more vulnerable to the wear and tear of time. But it's not all bad news. Because just as some fruits accelerate inflammation, weaken bones, and overload the heart, others are capable of doing the opposite, regenerating tissue, reducing pain, and strengthening defenses. They work like real natural medicines, only they are available every day at the farmer's market or grocery store. And this is where our journey takes a new turn. If so far we have talked about fruits that sabotage, now it's time to learn about those that can be your body's greatest allies after 60. And the first one is small in size but giant in protective power. So far, we have talked about fruits that seem harmless but hide dangerous traps for those over 60. This knowledge is essential because it prevents you from continuing to repeat mistakes in your daily life without realizing it. But now comes the most motivating part: fruits that act as true allies of the mature body, fighting inflammation, strengthening bones, and even rejuvenating cells. It is important to understand that the difference between villain and hero in food lies in how nutrients act within the body. While some fruits cause spikes in glucose and inflammation, others deliver antioxidants, fiber, vitamins, and bioactive compounds that can protect your body against the main problems of aging. We are talking about concrete benefits: improved circulation, sharper memory, less joint pain, and even more energy for daily activities. Antioxidants, for example, are molecules that fight free radicals. These radicals are produced naturally in our metabolism, but in excess they accelerate aging, damage cells, and increase the risk of degenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Now imagine being able to neutralize this process just by adding certain fruits to your routine. This is not a vague promise, it is applied science. Another essential point is blood glucose balance. While some fruits spike your sugar levels and drain your energy, others help stabilize these levels, keeping your body in a state of harmony. This reduces the risk of diabetes, protects your heart, and even ensures mental clarity. And let's not forget about fiber, found in fruits that strengthen the intestines, balance the microbiota, and aid in the absorption of nutrients. A healthy intestine not only improves digestion, but also strengthens immunity and reduces silent inflammation. What does all this mean in practice? That by choosing the right fruits, you can transform your diet into a kind of natural pharmacy, where each piece contributes to regenerating and strengthening your body. And the first of these powerful fruits is discreet, often overlooked on the shelves, but holds an arsenal of protective compounds inside. Small in size, but giant in impact on the brain, heart, and circulation. Among all the fruits that science has studied, few have gained as much attention in recent years as red fruits, especially blackberries and blueberries. Small, delicate, and colorful, they contain an impressive amount of antioxidants. And that is exactly what makes them a powerful weapon against accelerated aging. Anthocyanins, natural pigments that give these fruits their blue-purple hue, are true cell protectors. They fight free radicals that damage DNA and accelerate degenerative diseases. Studies show that people who consume berries regularly have a lower risk of developing cognitive decline. This means better memory, faster thinking, and even protection against dementia. And the benefits don't stop at the brain. These small fruits also have a direct effect on blood circulation. They improve the elasticity of blood vessels, reduce inflammation, and balance blood pressure. For those over 60, when the risk of cardiovascular problems increases, this is a detail that makes all the difference. Another often overlooked point is the impact on glucose control. Unlike bad fruits, berries help slow down the absorption of sugar into the bloodstream. This means more stability and fewer energy spikes and crashes. And we're not just talking about prevention. Even those who already have prediabetes or insulin resistance can feel improvement with the regular inclusion of these fruits. And the best thing is that they are extremely versatile. They can be eaten fresh, in natural yogurt, added to oatmeal, or even frozen, without losing most of their nutrients. This practicality increases the chances of keeping them in your routine, making the habit sustainable. You may never have stopped to think about it, but each handful of blackberries or blueberries acts as a small dose of natural rejuvenation, silently protecting the body. It's proof that we don't need magic formulas. Nature already provides us with powerful solutions in simple packages. And if these small fruits already impress with their impact, get ready, the next one on the list may surprise you even more. Because, in addition to being delicious, it has the power to strengthen the heart, improve circulation, and even offer an extra layer of protection against chronic inflammation. If red fruits have already shown how something small can have a big impact, now let's meet 3 allies that combine flavor, practicality, and science in favor of health: strawberries, pomegranates, and apples. All different from each other, but with one thing in common: protection of the heart and mind. Strawberries are rich in vitamin C and flavonoids. These compounds act directly to reduce chronic inflammation, one of the main causes of accelerated aging. In addition, studies show that regular consumption of strawberries can help reduce bad cholesterol, LDL, and increase good cholesterol, HDL, balancing the blood lipid profile. This translates into less risk of atherosclerotic plaques and more fluid circulation. For those who already deal with hypertension or a history of heart problems, this detail is pure gold. The pomegranate, in turn, is a true hidden treasure. Its vibrant seeds contain powerful polyphenol that fight free radicals and protect blood vessels. Research indicates that pomegranate juice, when consumed in moderation, can improve endothelial function, that is, the ability of blood vessels to dilate and transport blood efficiently. This means more oxygen for the brain and muscles, translating into more vitality in everyday life. The apple, on the other hand, is the perfect example of simplicity that works. Rich in soluble fiber, especially pectin, it helps regulate blood sugar, keeping blood sugar under control. In addition, these fibers feed the good bacteria in the gut, strengthening the microbiota, and we know that a healthy gut is directly linked to immunity and even emotional balance. Another often overlooked detail: apple peel contains quercetin, an antioxidant that protects the brain against degenerative processes. The strength of these 3 fruits is that they are accessible and can be incorporated into any routine. A handful of strawberries for dessert, some pomegranate seeds in yogurt, or an apple in the middle of the afternoon can make all the difference. It's not about big changes, but about small choices repeated every day. And here's an invitation: stop for a moment and think, of these 3, which one do you already consume regularly? And which one do you feel could help your routine the most? Leave your experience in the comments. Sharing this not only helps inspire others, but also strengthens your own decision to take better care of yourself. And if we've already discovered powerful allies for the heart and mind, get ready, the next fruits go even further. They have the power to act directly on bones, immunity, and even reduce joint pain. So far, we've seen fruits that protect the heart, mind, and circulation. But health after 60 requires something even deeper: taking care of your bones, reducing joint pain, and maintaining daily energy. That's where 3 often underrated allies come in: kiwi, orange, in moderation, and plum. Kiwi is a true powerhouse of vitamin C. It has even more than oranges. This vitamin is not only important for immunity, but also for the production of collagen, a protein essential for skin firmness, joint health, and bone strength. In addition, kiwi contains fiber that aids digestion and contributes to cholesterol balance. Another valuable detail: it has a slightly calming effect, promoting more restful nights of sleep, which is essential at this stage of life. Oranges, consumed whole and not in concentrated juice, can be an excellent ally. Rich in vitamin C, flavonoids, and fiber, they strengthen the immune system, help fight inflammation, and protect against infections. The secret lies in how they are consumed. When the pulp is preserved, the glycemic impact is lower and the benefits are multiplied. 1 orange a day, as part of a balanced diet, is enough to reap its positive effects without overloading the stomach or teeth. Plums, especially dried ones, are known for their effect on digestion. Their fiber and natural compounds help regulate the intestines, preventing constipation, a very common problem after age 60. But what few people know is that plums also contain nutrients that promote bone health, such as vitamin K, boron, and potassium. Studies suggest that regular consumption of dried plums may even help prevent bone density loss in the elderly, reducing the risk of fractures. These 3 fruits together represent a complete strategy. They strengthen bones, boost immunity, protect against inflammation, and ensure more energy for everyday life. These fruits are not exotic or hard to find. On the contrary, they are readily available at any market or supermarket. And here's a special request: think about how many people close to you still believe that all fruit is good for you anyway. Now that you know the difference between villains and superheroes, share this knowledge. It may be that someone in your family or a close friend is suffering precisely because of poor choices, and you can be the link that brings this transformation to them. And finally, we come to the most important moment of this journey. After revealing which fruits sabotage and which strengthen, it's time to understand how this awareness can completely change the way you age. Throughout this journey, we have seen something that often goes unnoticed: the fact that not all fruits are the same for the body after age 60. Some, when consumed in excess, can silently cause inflammation, raise glucose levels, wear down bones, and even accelerate memory problems. Others, on the other hand, act as true protective shields, strengthening the heart, brain, joints, and immunity. The most important thing here is not to memorize lists of forbidden and allowed fruits, but to understand that the power of transformation lies in the conscious choices you make every day. It's not about cutting back radically, but about learning to balance, reduce excesses, and value what really builds vitality. Because aging does not have to be synonymous with loss. It can be synonymous with wisdom, strength, and freedom. Small daily changes, such as swapping concentrated juice for whole fruit, choosing fruits rich in fiber and antioxidants, and consuming balanced portions, can translate into more years of life with energy, lucidity, and independence. Remember, your body remains an extraordinary machine, capable of regenerating and strengthening itself when it receives the right nutrients. Each fruit you choose is like a message sent to your body: I want to live better, I want to age healthily, I want quality of life. And now, it's up to you to decide what message you want to send. If this content has opened your eyes to truths that almost no one talks about, I invite you to join us. Subscribe to the channel to continue receiving clear, science-based information that can transform not only your life, but also the lives of those you love. Here, with each video, you will have the opportunity to learn how small choices build big results. After all, health is not a fixed destination, but a path that you walk every day. And every step, every decision, every piece of fruit you put on your plate is part of that journey. The power is in your hands. Choose consciously, take care of your body with love, and allow yourself to live with more vitality and joy in every phase of life.